Joining me now, Mike Rubino, during the campaign of 2015-16. Mike was man of many titles. He started out as Virginia State Director for Trump. We won the Super Tuesday primary in Virginia, even though Marco Rubio outspent us on the airwaves, $2.4 million to $50,000. Of course, all the $50,000 was spent with me on the radio. That's why we won. Smart move, Rubino. Then Rubino got promoted, and he ran New York and New Jersey and Delaware and all these states that he won. And then when he was like a bigwig in Trump Tower, we begged Eric Trump to bring him back to Virginia. And he finally relented. We got him back at the end and closed the gap and only got beat by 5. Another 2 weeks, I don't know, it might have been closer. Mike Rubino with us now. Mike, great to have you with us.
Thanks for having me, John.
Okay, Mike, so let's get the Trump team back together and do it again. What do you think?
I think we have to do it. And I think Virginia is looking better and better as the days go by.
You think we can win?
The catastrophe in Richmond is just wonderful.
I think we can win.
I do too.
I think we can put the state in play with all the nonsense going on. Look, you had the Trump backlash, and I get all that. But at the end of the day, Hillary only beat us here by 5. Now, you can say, well, that's a lot. 5's a lot. It was like 4-8 or something. 5 points is a lot. But if you look at the votes that the independent got from Salt Lake City, what was the guy's name? Evans somebody. And if you look at the votes that the Libertarian got, she really beat us by 2.1. If you take those votes out, that would have gone to us. And I don't think you're going to have that again. So, and we got beat in the 3 northern cities, I believe, Mike, right? Alexandria, Fairfax, and Arlington. I'm speaking from memory. But I think we lost those 3 by like 180,000, and that was the end of it.
The real kicker is we lost Virginia as a whole by 200,000 votes, and this is approximate. We lost Fairfax County by 200,000 votes. So
there you go.
If you want to understand the problem, that is the problem. And what I did, and it worked during the primary, it's just I think the Democratic base was so galvanized against us, especially in the swamp, right? Northern Virginia is just a bleed over of the swamp. I tried a ROVA over NOVA strategy, meaning the rest of Virginia will try and mitigate the disaster that is Northern Virginia. And unfortunately, there's just not enough votes. You can't find enough votes across the state to mitigate the things that you'll find in Fairfax and Arlington and Alexandria.
Right. I mean, that was exactly it. And then we lost some of the other major cities. We lost the college town, Charlottesville, Blacksburg, Richmond, Hampton. So we lost those. But there were precincts, Mike, in Southwest Virginia that we were carrying with 90% of the vote. I mean, it was pretty amazing. Yeah. And that's what kept
unbelievable.
That's what kept it close, but just not enough to overcome that. And look, Virginia's not going to be a battleground state. My goal is to get it to be at the top of the list of the second-tier states. I think that's about the best we're going to do. We're not going to get any resources like we did in 2016 and 2020. There's not going to be a couple $1 million for TV ads or any of that, because I don't think the 2020 campaign is going to see Virginia as a winnable state. But that doesn't mean we can't put a good organization together and close the gap and see what happens, right?
Correct. And Virginia was never part of the Trump wall. That's Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Florida. But as things trend right now, I mean, you should be thanking Governor Northam, Lieutenant Governor Fairfax, Attorney General Herring. They are helping you so much, make it a top-tier state. They are aiding our efforts.
What about the Republican Party of Virginia? You know, my contention is it doesn't really exist. It's a name only. A couple people sign on a door, a fax machine, an answering machine, and a postal permit. I mean, the Republican Party of Virginia, Mike, is really not in a position to take advantage of any of this, right?
I agree with that with a caveat, and that caveat is that the RNC and the Trump campaign, having merged together as one just unbelievable mega organization, they do have the opportunity and the ability to permeate Virginia and to actually affect things. Whether they choose, to do so, that's totally at their discretion. But the RPV can be, bolstered by what is probably the most powerful Republican National Committee nationally there's ever been in existence.
How do they take advantage of this?
What? Really, we have to take a look at what Governor Northam is going to do. I think at this point he stays. Whether Lieutenant Governor Fairfax exits, as I believe he should. I heard yesterday that his accuser is going to file the case in court in Boston. I think that the time's now to start messaging and helping Virginians understand, one, that the whole trigger of what set this entire thing off, Delegate Kathy Transdill, that should still be talked about. That story should not go away. And Virginia, by and large, is not in line with that bill. And they're not in line with the policies of Lieutenant Governor Fairfax. I really don't think they're in line with what will now be Governor Northam's reparations tour. I think that all that they're doing is going to help the Republican Party in Virginia kind of get their sea legs, understand exactly what they can do and what they should be messaging. This is a great opportunity for us to move forward as a party.
You're on the John Frederick Radio Network, Trucking the Truth Across America. Great to have you with us today. We're with Mike Rubino. Mike was the former Trump Virginia campaign director. He then also became a senior advisor to then Donald J. Trump and the Trump campaign, ran a whole bunch of states, and then came back to Virginia at the end when we started to close the gap and put a strategy together to put us in striking distance. Mike, there's been people that have come to me, and I'm just going to lay this out there, that have come to me and said, look, what do you think about Mike Rubino running for chairman of the Republican Party of Virginia in 2020? I got to tell you, Mike, I think that's a great idea. Is that something you might be interested in?
You're making me blush, John. It's certainly something I would consider if I felt like I could help the president, help you, and, move the agenda forward that we need moved forward. I would, of course, consider it.
Well, listen, I think if you were to run for chairman of Virginia, I think we could galvanize Trump voters across the Commonwealth in a way that's never been seen and turn them out at the convention, wherever it is. And I think with your understanding of the state, having run the Trump campaign here, it would be a unique position that you would be in to bring all the disparate factions together and move towards a single agenda. So we'll see what plays out. But I have to say, I have had your name mentioned to me by a number of prominent people over the last 90 days.
I appreciate you telling me that. I think that, we're in a great place right now as Virginians to move forward, to collectively come together and actually act on the president's agenda has been very good for the Commonwealth. I think that the Democrats in Virginia are doing pretty much everything in their God-given power to undo the president's agenda. So now is the time to come together and, explain to everyone we have more money in our pockets. We have more jobs in our communities. We're feeling the Trump boom. And, we support the president. We support the Republican Party.
Do you think the president should sign the compromise deal that is likely going to hit his desk over the next several days?
I'm not well-versed enough in all the intricacies of the bill. Obviously, any bill that doesn't explicitly lay out wall funding, I'm not wild about. Right. I believe that the wall is the seminal piece of the president's, campaign pitch, especially for re-election. I've been to 30-some Trump rallies across the country, and I can tell you that the wall is at the top of the mind of every Trump voter.
Mike, I agree with that. You spent time in the federal government. You were a Trump administration appointee, and you served in, where, HHS?
Yes, sir.
HHS, you ended up leaving that job, and part of what you said was that Trump supporters who have been given political appointee jobs in the agencies have been systematically run out of their jobs by making their jobs miserable by the swamp creatures that are in there that run them. And I've heard that, Mike, not from you, but I've heard that from a number of people that were with our campaign, got a job in one of the federal agencies as a Trump administration political appointee, and then just couldn't stand it. I mean, I just met one the other day. I don't want to tell you her name, but she was like, I was there 2 years. I just couldn't stand it one more day. Everybody went out of their way to make me leave, just make my job horrendous. And they've done that. This is kind of like a systematic flushing out of Trump people by making them hate their jobs. What is the deal with that?
Well, these deep staters do not like the president's agenda. They see us as harbingers of that agenda, and we're there to effectively carry out what the president wishes. Now, all of that being said, and this speaks to the sheer force, will, and power of this president, his agenda is still getting done. Come hell or high water, deep state fighting back, the entrenched bureaucracy doing everything it can to stop him, this president is still getting his agenda done. So, I mean, it may be miserable, and I think that a lot of political appointees don't understand exactly how miserable it will be. I certainly didn't. I wanted to serve my government. I wanted to serve my president. I wanted to serve the people of the country that I love. All of that being said, when you look at the man in the Oval Office, our president, he's done a better job than possibly any president in history at fighting back against the bureaucracy and actually just through sheer force of will getting what he wants done. And that's why I hope he gets his wall and he fights for his wall, because he deserves it.
All right, Mike Rubino, we're out of time. Mike, I want to thank you for being with us. We need to get the old team here in Virginia back together, and we'll see about.
You lead the way.
I tell you what, I love the idea of you running for chairman. I mean, we just need a shot in the arm here. Somebody young. I mean, think about this. How old are you, Mike?
28.
20. See, that's what we need. That's what we need, a 28-year-old, energetic chairman with a vision that can get young people and do something to galvanize this thing, because it's dead in the water. And I think Rubino is the kind of guy to do that. That's what we need. We don't need another 65-year-old white guy. We need somebody like Rubino, young, energetic, 28. See, I'm for the. I think that this
sounds
would be.
Like I just got my first endorsement for something I haven't even said I'm doing.
No, I think everybody is going to go and be like, oh, we need to get young people into the Republican Party of Virginia. Why not get a young person to run the damn thing?